how do I show the world I'm no better talented than anybody? I'm no more gifted than anybody. I've done it with cooking, should not have. I've done it with the physical, should not have. We can do anything. It's not because I made a fool of myself on MasterChef or America's Got Talent. I did use good craft, good positive magic. And I beat 100,000 people and did the hardest, scariest, most painful thing I ever did. And it was the most empowering.
In today's busy world, how can we find the inspiration, knowledge, and energy to live a healthy and empowered life? If we balance and harmonize our mind, exercise our body, live according to the laws of nature, and connect to spirit, can we find a way to heal, become our authentic self, and live our purpose with love? I am your hostess, Amy Fournier, and welcome back to Awakening Aphrodite. Hey, welcome back to Awakening Aphrodite with Amy Fournier. This is where you can come to learn about everything with holistic health and wellness. And we also talk about harmonizing your masculine and feminine energy, which all of us contain. You know, the go versus the flow, and having the discretion to know when you want to tap into one or the other so you can be fully integrated, fully yourself, and reach your potential, as well as tap into your intuition, your true source of power, and awaken your authentic self. What could be better? So today you're in for a real treat because my guest is, you ready for this? She's a modern day witch, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Patti Negri is a guest on my show, and I am thrilled because I have her book, Old World Magic for the Modern World, Tips, Tricks, and Techniques to Balance, Empower, and Create a Life You Love, in my library for years. And I'm thrilled now that I've had a podcast a couple years. This is my main gig. And reached out to Patti and said, hey, love your book, love your work. I think my audience would enjoy you. Want to come on my show? She said yes. So I'm really, really, really thrilled. And I think you're going to enjoy it because we talk about a lot of really interesting things that we can practically use in our modern day lives. In fact, I asked Patti about, can you clear up some definitions for us? Like, what is a psychic? What is a witch? Like, what's magic with the K on it? And what about spellcasting? And how is that related to manifesting, which is our modern day term for basically spellcasting? And I asked Patti about her professional opinion on getting permission first before you, quote unquote, cast spells or project your intention or what you want to manifest, particularly if it involves another person. And it's very, very important advice, which I subscribe to myself. I asked Patti 3 simple tips to help bring more magic into our everyday lives. And we talk about protecting yourself from dark forces, which certainly are out there. And really cool, Patti shares with us how she actually used witchcraft to not only learn how to cook, but also how to manifest her dreams and goals, like major TV show appearances. Hello, MasterChef, WipeOut, America's Got Talent. Any of those sound familiar? Yes, she used witchcraft and spellcasting to get on those shows. Super cool. So hey, real quick, a little bit about Patti. She's a psychic medium and a good witch, quote unquote, which is best known for her reoccurring role on the Travel Channel and the Discovery Plus #1 show, Ghost Adventures. So check her out on TV on Ghost Adventures. It's really cool. It's actually the #1 paranormal show on YouTube, and she's in it. She's the international best-selling author of the book, which I mentioned and have myself, and it's really cute. It's small, and it's nice reference, and you might enjoy some of the tips in there. And again, that book is called Old World Magic for the Modern World. She has graced numerous magazine covers, contributed to over 20 books, and conducted seances on radio, film, and TV, working with such legends as Emma Stone, Jon Voight, Josh Duhamel, and Chevy Chase. Patti also has a popular weekly podcast, which you might want to check out, called The Witching Hour. And she just launched her 2nd weekly podcast. So she has 2. The other one's called Patti Negri's Haunted Journal. She has online courses and her YouTube channel is fantastic. You know, I just really, really enjoy Patti's work and I think you're going to love this conversation. So if you like it, hey, you know what to do. Go ahead and subscribe so you can join us each week. We have such a variety of interesting, amazing guests, and I just love being with you. So thanks for subscribing. Thanks for leaving a review, because that is like the biggest compliment ever to me if you take the time to do that, and means the world to me. Thank you. I love you. Enjoy this conversation with Patti Negri. And welcome back to Awakening Aphrodite with Amy Fournier. Today, my guest is Patti Negri. Patti, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Amy. I am thrilled to be here. I love your podcast. I'm honored to be a part of it. So yay.
Right back at you. And thank you so much. Everyone, I am so thrilled. Like I said in the introduction, I've had Patti's book, Old World Magic for the Modern World, for many, many years now on my shelf. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you'll see it's quite marked up. And I just love this book so much because it's so user-friendly. I have to read so much to prepare for my job, for the show. Many guests have books. And this one was a joy to read, okay? I've had this book since before I've had my show, because I'm interested in this kind of thing. And sure enough, Patti graciously agreed to be on my podcast, and I'm just super grateful. So Patti, wow, can you please share with us how you got started down this magical, mystical, fascinating life that you have, my friend?
Well, kicking and screaming. No, not really. But honestly, I was just kind of totally born this way, born into it. I was seeing spirits since I could talk. I just knew that those so-called imaginary friends little kids have weren't all imaginary. Though imaginary ones were great too. We need that for our growth, but the ones that were real spirits. And there's my connection to nature, whatever you want to call it. I would find myself in the backyard, picking rosemary and mint and knowing if I put it in my mom's wallet, it would give her more money, and just this little magical world I would see through the veil. And luckily, I think I didn't get taught out of me. I do think kids really have this gift and have this connection to spirit, to nature, but it gets taught out of us in our modern Western non-mystical society. And I was lucky enough to have it not taught out of me. And then I just became a seeker after I was about 13 and studying. I wanted to understand this energy that I saw, because it is all energy. So I started studying religion, cosmologies, philosophy, science, occult science, magic, and take it all down to the through line of energy that it is. So kind of whatever template you put on top of it, you could talk in scientific terms or Judeo-Christian terms or pagan terms or New Age terms. And there's this beautiful truth to it all. So again, but it was part of my life, and it was my life. And I kind of settled on this witchy pagan path decades ago, because it just seemed like, well, I want my place of worship to be in a park. I want to dance around, that it all works. But I really kept a separate life, thinking my other life had to be kind of separate, until about 2008, because I ran a production company, I ran a business. I was here in Hollywood, being a Hollywood person. And then Spirit just said, no, threw me into the spotlight, said, you're going into this world full time, and haven't looked back. And it's just doors open. And versus teaching, motivation to the HR department through a song and dance extravaganza at Microsoft Corporation, now I get to talk to young people and ghost hunters. And
is that what you were doing? You were working for Microsoft?
Well, no, I ran a production company that was very corporate. So I worked for Microsoft, I worked for IBM, I worked for banks across the country. Again, motivational teaching of a sort, but within their corporate realms. And it was a big theatrical production company. So it was very left of center, very comedic, but teaching stuff that is important and good, but not this heart from like, oh my God, everything I've always believed is humans are amazing. And that is my whole thing, just like you, which is why I love what you do. It's like, we are these powerful beings, and we sometimes forget. We give away our power all the time to other people, to limiting belief systems. It's like, I just want to, every once in a while, we need reminding. And that's what I like to do. Like, you are magic. Yeah. So it's just taken over since about 2008, and it's been a beautiful, magical ride.
That's just so interesting that you said, how I love that, we do need to be reminded of what miracles we really are. Well, all of life, everything. I mean, even just right down to the biology of all the thousands of functions that's happening inside our cells every second that we're not even conscious of. And, it's kind of a cliche, life is a miracle, but there's so much that, and I love how you say that magic is all around us. And it reminds me of, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Esther and Jerry Hicks, the work of them. But yeah, of course. I just didn't want to assume. I would imagine you would be. But basically, just for the audience, that's a channeler that of energy that comes through from a non-physical entity called Abraham. And they talk about the rampage of appreciation. So your very famous quote of magic is all around us, we just got to pay attention, reminds me of what they talk about, rampage of appreciation, and that we're basically programming ourselves to look, to find, to notice the things that we want that are right there in front of us, that we're just kind of too busy, distracted, or whatever, too much in our left brain to notice. So life is always constantly trying to support us and give us things, but we've got to pre-program ourselves to notice.
Yeah, completely. Because we have, I guess, society, modern living, everything has kind of numbed us out. We use the terminology all the time: phoned in, automatic pilot, asleep at the wheel, by rote. It's like, that's not how we want to live. Then we are becoming those zombies. It's like, wake up. We have to wake up.
All right, let's start, Patti, with you, the expert, defining some terms for us, shall we?
Okay.
Because we're going to assume that most people, my audience, isn't quite familiar with, because first of all, guys, we're talking about magic with a K on the end, Magick. Okay, so I know you like to call yourself the good witch, a psychic medium. So let's start with, what is a psychic?
Okay. What a psychic is, I love starting at the beginning. A psychic is somebody who can see patterns, possibilities, probabilities, even pathways and things. Now, I don't think we have free will, so I would never say this is going to happen. A bird's gonna poop on your head on Tuesday when you walk out of the house, Amy, be careful, because I could see it happening. I would rather say, be careful on Tuesday, go out the back door, wear a hat, put up an umbrella so it doesn't. So I'm not one of those prediction psychics, but a psychic is see pathways. Like, I see the possibility, and somebody did this to me when I was a kid, that you're going to be married 3 times. That's what she said. And yes, I am on my 3rd husband, but had maybe she'd been a better trained psychic and more understanding, she could have said, there's a possibility you might have 3 husbands. But if you want to know, this is why you might have 3 husbands, because maybe the first 2 times you married your daddy or something like that, and go, maybe you don't have to have the 3 husbands. And if you do, that's okay, no judgments. But if we learn the lessons of why the path we're on, then we can really, let my witchy side take over and the past of what it is. I think unless you are some one almighty God to say this is going to happen, we've just taken away their power, because we do have free will. We can not go out the front door to get, have a bird poop on our head.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
that's a psychic. So we look at love, career, health, all those things that people go to psychics for. People predict who Brad Pitt's going to marry next. That would be a psychic skill if somebody wanted to do that. Yes.
So are you saying then, according to you, that a psychic is someone who has the ability to tap into what, like the morphic field? Like, what is happening here? Like, why?
Yes.
And you're saying too that everybody can pretty much do it. So is that what you have ability to do that?
Yes. And again, everybody has different ability. Everyone can learn to play piano. Everyone could take piano lessons. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's going to be a virtuoso concert pianist. Some of us clunk out Love is Blue. But what it is, we're able to see through time and space. You could see to be a psychic can kind of see past, present, and future probabilities, possibilities, good chances, and things like that. So you look at the past sometimes just so people can have a little bit of confidence in what you're doing. But that's what a psychic is. Not all psychics are mediums. I do believe all mediums are psychics. So I suppose you want to know what a medium is now.
Sure.
Okay. What a medium is someone who actually sees through the veil to see spirits on the other side, deceased loved ones, what we would call ghosts and spirits. Grandma is at the end of my bed. Again, I think it's the ability is in all of us, usually gets taught out of us. It is something we could develop, just like going to the gym, working out, and gaining those muscles as needed. But a medium is somebody who can speak to spirits, deceased living humans, spirit guides, elementals, getting into all the realms that are not human or not currently human. That's the difference in a medium and a psychic. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah.
Indeed. And I know too, in your book, you were saying how as a child, you had these abilities. And to me, it sounds like remote viewing. Like you gave the example that you were able to see the house that your mom was visiting in, and you were able to, from your bedroom, describe the other house without ever being there. So that sounds like remote viewing to me. Is that accurate?
Yeah, because I don't believe, yes, there's time and space on the other side, which is hard for our little human brains to understand. No time and space. But if there is no time and space, past and present and future kind of can collide nicely. That's why we can, if we look through the veil, see past and present and possible futures as such. And the same with remote viewing. Travel to here, travel to there. Yeah.
But it's so interesting, though, how free will comes in. Because, again, the future, it's like, yeah, but we got free will. Like, I mean, Patti, that must be kind of weird. Like, this might happen, but then your free will might, pull a fast one and then totally change the course, right? So,
yeah. And so look at it. Do you want to change the course? Again, that's where that empowerment, take your power back, create your life. Life, we dance between fate and destiny and free will. Some people want to be told what to do. The wind blows them left and they go left, and the wind blows them right and they want to go right. Some of us go, I want to go from here to there, so I'm going to use sails, I'm going to use row, I want to get where I want to go. Not one is more right than the other. But if you look at I'm just going to go back with husbands. I've had 17 husbands already. And some psychic told me once I was going to have 22 husbands. Maybe I don't want to have 22 husbands. I'm tired of getting wedding dresses. Let me see why, and that's going into the inner work, which again, for all of our development, whether you call it spiritual development or whatever that is, that's the inner work to do, why.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the whole idea too. And I like how you said, about being collaborative and creative and a participant in your life and having some sovereignty over what is happening. You're not a leaf in the wind. Like, is this a choice? And this is something, I know you're a fan of tarot as well. And I have been too for years. Every day I do a card draw, and I've learned that, when you get quote unquote a bad card, which, it can be more just like a warning, like a someone who cares about you, giving you a heads up, like, wear your seatbelt today, or make sure you slow down a little bit, so it can prevent a problem because it gives you a heads up. It's not necessarily this is a bad thing that's going to happen,
That's what I think a good tarot reader is, like a good psychic or any other form of divination that we use. Yeah. It's like looking at this problem, like it's in the cards. The cards say this. We use that terminology too. So we look at it. What lesson can we get from this? Do we want it to go there? Not want it to go there? We can't control everything. We can't. Right. Yeah. We can't control a lot of things. How tall we are at this point in time, anyway. But we can control what we do with what we're given. We can control how we react to things, and that's how we start shifting our path. We change the things we can, and we deal with the things that we can't, and what we do with them. We can let a breakup destroy us, or we can let a breakup make us stronger for the next relationship.
See, and this is what I love about your work, which obviously many people do, why you're so successful, is because it truly is empowering. Because what you're doing, Patti, is you are helping people realize they actually can control a lot more than they think they can, because you're taking it to next level control about manifesting. And we're going to talk about that, spellcasting and, just what we're talking about, creating what you want, even protecting and things like you are really, really empowering people. Like, you're not just talking about it, like to a next level. So I love it. All right, let's talk about what is a witch and why in God's name is it so triggering for people, that word witch.
Thank you, Hollywood. Thank you. What a witch is. Now, actually, a witch means a couple of things. A
Mhm.
witch going, I'm a witch. It could mean that's your religious choice. It could mean like, oh, I'm Wiccan, the modern age, the goddess worshiping Wiccan, or I'm ceremonial. I'm a thelemic. I'm traditional British craft. I'm a chaos magician. Kind of like saying I'm Presbyterian, I'm Lutheran, the same but different. It could be your belief system. Or to say I'm a witch, I'm a practicing witch, can also just mean I am willing to take fate into my own hands and the responsibility that it comes with it to create the life I want. So I both have it as my belief system. I basically worship nature and I put the feminine in with the masculine. I take responsibility for my choices. Somebody's not going to forgive me because I say a certain prayer. There's cause and effect, action and reaction. So that is my religion. And I practiced witchcraft, means I will do a spell work. And the responsibility. If you are changing fate, again, I use the term good witch. White witch, black witch, color has so much weird things. Good means so many things. It means I'm good at what I do. I mean, I work in the light. I don't do things. I'm not going to do a spell to manipulate you, because number one, not good or bad or evil. If I do a spell that manipulates you, that means I live in a world where manipulation happens and somebody can manipulate me. If I don't want to be manipulated, I want to be my own person. And I want, again, do unto others as you want done to you. So, and I truly believe that with good magic, with positive magic, creating the world that you want, you can get everything you want and need without having to do hexes or curses or controlling anybody else, because I don't want to live in a world of hexes or curses or controlling anybody. It's like the pagan version of karmic this. So that's my good means good. I work in light and we can do amazing things. So a witch means I'm going to do a love spell. I'm going to do a money spell. I'm not going to do a love spell on a specific person because that's controlling them. But bring me the love of my life, whether you're talking to a god, the gods, your higher self, the universe, whoever you're talking to, you figure that out. I want to bring the love of my life. And guess what? We are answered. Again, whether you call it whatever form you're calling it. I'm praying to Jesus. Great. I'm praying to goddess Aphrodite. Great. I am praying to, again, we ask and we receive. That's kind of a universal spiritual laws. But again, what are we going to do for it? So I also practice the craft. And you do, if you want to practice the craft, if you want to be a working, you do have to actually have a sense of ethics, a sense of integrity. You have to be virtuous and high moral code, not morality, who does what with who on the side, a moral code. But if you have a moral code and you have, you are integrity in what you're doing, we can bring peace on the world. We can change the world. We can, one person at a time, because everything is done one person at a time. And then there's power in numbers. So I'm both, I claim it as my belief system. I am a pagan. I'm a witch. I'm so out there that I can't even say I am Wiccan anymore, because I borrow from everybody. I do a lot of chaos magic practices. I do a lot of thelemic, traditional, ceremonial practices. I do a lot of shamanic practices from many other belief systems, because again, I see energy, and the energy can be named whatever you want. Work with, it's almost like the template that you're putting on top of it. But as soon as you go, wow, I want to create my life. Some people really don't. They want to be told what to do, and that's okay. There's no judgment. To get from my house to your house across the whole, country, who's to say one's the right way to do it? You might want to walk, you might want to drive, you might want to fly, you might, want to telepathically get there. I don't think anybody really has the right to say that one way is better than the other, because some people like to walk, some people like to fly. So that's my only thing against, but I think find the template that works for you. And some people do. I don't want to make the choice if it's right or wrong. I want somebody to tell me, and yay, more power to them. I want to decide for myself.
That's beautiful, Patti. That's beautiful. So back to our definitions. How would you define Wiccan then?
A Wiccan is somebody, it's a fairly new religion, bounced off from Aleister Crowley and Gardner in bringing, it's modern day. Everybody thinks it's the old religion. It's not the old religion at all. It's very, very new.
Really?
It's
Okay.
where they brought in it's based on, as most pagan things are, the wheel of the year. It's all based on nature, the four equinoxes, and in between we have the Sabbats, the holy days, and they funnily align very much with Christianity borrowed ours, so people would go into it, which is great. Our Yule, it looks very much like Christmas. You know, our Ostara is very much like Easter. We're the ones starting out with bunnies and eggs. Doesn't really fit with Christianity, but that's okay. We share. It's good because it's about spring and new life and new birth. Because early man, that's all we had. We had seasons. We had the grain season and the farming season and the hunting season and the dark season. Are you going to make it through it? So that's what it's really based on, in connection with earth. And I think the resurgence in more, and it doesn't have to be witch or pagan, in more land-based, is because we need it right now, whether it's a whole new age. I'm an elemental witch, and whatever you want to call me, which means I work air and fire and water and earth. Yes, I'll work with deities, and that's great. But I really, as of right now, I'm this mundane gravity, corporal building, body. I am on earth. So I'm going to work with everything nature, gods gave me. The strength of a tree with deep roots, the power of a rock and a stone, the flow of the moon, the intensity of the sun, all the different elements. So the different ways, almost everything magical works off a compass. And you see the compass is drawn. Whatever you put in the north is the system you're working. An elemental compass, Wicca, most ceremonial magicians, Native American, Peruvian shamanism. If you put earth in the north, earth, fire, water, air. And if you think about, earth is the earth, and fire is what, if you put your body in that, which I do in my book, my 30-second exercises, your earth is who you are. It's what we live. It's the material world, our persona, how people know us. Fire is the passion, creativity, love, sex, God, Holy Spirit, what drives us. Our water is our emotion. Almost 60% of our body, almost 70% of our planet has to flow, not be judged. Our air, that's our thought process, focus, clarity, birds on wing, the big picture, organization. So when we're calling the corners, we're going into the ancestors and the sturdiness of the earth and the flow of the water and all that. And if we do it in our personal life, like with my 30-second exercises, I need to ground myself. I'm not feeling grounded now. Let me touch wood. My emotions are all let my hands run underwater. Water is that emotion. Let me breathe air. Nobody breathes anymore, which is why we all get chatty brains. But basically what this is, everything, going back to the languaging we use, everything how I do, again, because we are corporeal building, but that's why everybody's into fairies now, and gnomes, and people who aren't even of an elemental going, gnomes are real. I go, yeah, and they are, because we need to focus back here for our little planet's sake. But everything that we do in the science of it is based on mind, body, spirit. There's 20,000 books written about it, psychology books, self-help books, educational books, Christian books, spirituality books, occult books. We understand the mind part. We'll never, ever surpass our own belief system. Just can't. We can't. If you don't think you can do something, you're not going to be able to do it until you think you can. If you think you could do this, science has proven that, spiritual, everything, mind, body, you have to take action. You got to get off the couch to do whatever. And the spirit, that's the part that's less tangible, that people don't always get. And that's actually lots of ways you could do it. You can do it through your religion, traditional or not. Go to church and pray. That's the faith, or temple and pray, mosque and pray. You could do it very new age, vision boards and affirmations. I'm seeing this, creating it. You could do what I'm doing, a spell working, candles and herbs and oils. But you could look at everything you've ever created in your life, that you have accomplished in your life. You've had mind, body, spirit. You've believed you could do it, or that you were worthy of it and you could make it happen. You got off the couch, you took action. And then you had the spirit, because that's the battery that makes it happen. Either the faith or the magic or whatever you want to call it to make it happen. Look at everything in your life that you haven't quite accomplished yet, or maybe you're not even close. one or two of those things needs tweaking. That's it. You either don't believe you could really have that, do that, get there, be there, or that you deserve it, or you haven't taken action towards it, or you just don't have that faith or magic behind it. So find any way to do it, be it prayer or vision boards or spell working or affirmations or jumping up and down 3 times. And then it switches. And right now it switches within pretty much the laws of physics. But I think once we use that other 90% of our brain, we're going to be able to move things without knowing. And I just think we're getting that much closer to it. And all of this is coming together, mind, body, spirit. In witchcraft, we call that creation, working, dispatch in a simplify. Creation of a spell. Oh, I'm going to do a love spell. Let's see, that's Friday. Yeah, that's a day of Venus. Okay. Oh, rose petal. Oh, I'll do a lavender bath. It's the mind part. The body part is I'm sitting there doing the working. I'm carving the candle or taking the bath. And the spirit is the magic we're putting into those herbs, those candles, those oils, the chant or whatever we're doing. Exact same thing. So you could do it very academically, like my grandfather did, scientifically, or you could do it very romantically, or you could do it within a religious setting. It's all the same through lines of magic. So look at how are we all, we're almost always, we're all in our own way. So it's like, how do you move yourself out of, okay, I don't really believe that. Let's change that, and society, like we said, our modern society has gotten so left brain that we forgot the importance of the right brain, where the magic exists, spirituality exists, art exists. I mean, literally, like when my little local Hollywood school, the public school, nobody sent their kids to the school because it was horrible. It was the lowest 10%. So you had to go to private school. And it's like, oh, the hill people go in the private school. And it's like, and we decided that sucked. We didn't want it. So I volunteer on the board of the Arts Council. We started bringing in art classes, dance classes, photography classes, improv classes to this little grade school. Writing skills went up, math skills went up, reading skills went up, and it became a school of excellence because they focus you have to dance between knowledge and knowing, logic and reason, mystery. And so again, we're trying to find that balance back. And that's what magic is.
It makes me think of like in a Steiner School, if I'm not mistaken, they don't even do any kind of mathematical teachings with the children until they're even like a certain age, because they don't want to develop that side of the brain at the expense of the right side when the kids are so tapped in. The younger they are, the more that they're in that imaginary, the veil is much thinner the younger you are. So they make a point in their curriculum not to bring any kind of, like left brain type mathematical, analytical work to the curriculum. Very interesting. Well, I love that you mentioned how the spiritual part is, the belief is important. I think that last one is the hardest one, that for the mind creation, the body, the action, and the spirit, the dispatch. People can conceive it or dream, like, oh, it'd be so great if, this happened. So we hear people talk like that. And then, many people, one of my favorite sayings is the Quaker saying, pray, but move your feet, right? You got to take action, because all the vision boards in the world isn't going to mean anything unless you're actually doing the work. But then the dispatch is, and it's one thing to pray and have intention or visualize, right? But you've got to have your heart in it, Patti, right? Like, can you help us with that? Because in my experience, and I've been doing this a long time, people try. They really do. Like, I want this. I really want this. But maybe they don't feel worthy, or they don't feel it's possible, or they feel they're too old, or it's too late, or it couldn't happen to them because they've too many kids. Who's going to want me? I'm a divorced mother. Whatever. I mean, pick the thing. Like, but if they really admitted it, they might think like, yes, I'm going to say it, but I don't really believe it might happen for me. So how do we get around that?
That's what you have to look at. That's the inner work. That's what we also have to shadow work. It's like, okay, let me change. We have complete control over our thought patterns. And there's also truth to that. Fake it till you make it. Like if you smile
Yep.
hard enough that you get happy, and if you say, I am worthy, I am not, you don't even say I'm not too old, because all you hear is too old. There's
Yep.
languaging. We get into the science of languaging and all that. I'm
Mhm.
perfect. If we just start there,
I'm the
I
perfect
have
age.
if we just know it, I have everything I need to get wherever I need, wherever I want. So again, that's where you might want to work with somebody. I do a lot of inner child work, whether you go into past lives or what happened to you so often between 4 and 7. We set up so many of our parameters and belief systems at such a young age. And then sometimes that little 6-year-old takes over our, 40, 50, 60, 30-year-old body. It's like,
Yep.
oh dear. And we don't even know it, because that's the little box we created ourselves. We have to remember, going back into basic psychology, our psyche, our way of being, our life force doesn't care if we're happy. It doesn't care if we're successful. It just wants us to survive. We learn to survive in this little limited box. Like, oh, I better not be too loud. I better blend in, or whatever our particular box is. We have to switch that. We have to consciously look, okay, I want to thrive. I don't want to just survive. I do want to be happy. I do want to be successful, and being willing to step into that. It's just looking at it. And again, it's hard. It's fun. It's a challenge. And I think the biggest thing that gets in all of our way of doing the worthiness and all that is it's fear. We have to look. If we look at IC energy, and anybody else will tell you, the two strongest forces in the entire world are love and fear. Love and fear. Never says love is all you need. Yes, love conquers all. Yeah, love and fear. We could look at the decisions we make from love. They're usually our right decisions. We could look at the decisions we make from fear. Unless it's somebody's pointing a gun at us, it's usually not our highest decision. Now, we actually know that we actually think with 3 parts of our body. We think with our heads, we think with our hearts, and we think with our gut. And we do. It's like, oh, my gut tells me this. And we use that terminology. And that's kind of that instinct. That is that kind of intuition, kind of that survival level. And we do. And actually, science is even. And so that's just kind of instinct in the moment. It's not deep thought. Our head thinks, and of course it does, all those little brain cells, the millions of synapses going off. It is thinking in the pattern we've trained it by our parents, by our society, by our upbringing. But our heart actually, and more science is finding there is thinking cells in our heart, thinking cells. Our heart thinks from purity, not from our mama told us love was bad, or daddy told us money is hard to earn. Our heart doesn't have that layering that we put on top of it. So if you can learn, even if you just constantly choose, like, okay, my head's telling me I'm too old, or I'm not worthy, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. Listen to your heart. You might have to do a little meditation. You might have to go walk in the park. You need to have to sit down at a tree with your spine along the trunk and ask for that tree's wisdom. And then you start to listen and start to hear and allow. And when the little blocks come in, I don't want to allow it, then you go one little block at a time if needed. Oh yeah, when your kindergartner teacher did tell you never amount to something, they were wrong. Let's rewrite that. Okay, we just, step by step. But if we make it fun, but going back to fear, so love and fear is our true driving factors and the most powerful. Fear, it's always going to have fear. Fear is going to be part of it because it's one of those 2 driving forces. Fear can freeze us in our tracks. Fear can make us not make that phone call, not ask for a raise, not ask somebody for a date, just catatonic, and make us live much smaller than maybe we want to leave. Fear. Or fear is $1 million industry that I'm sitting and living in the middle of. We pay money to watch scary movies or watch ghost adventures, or we pay money to ride roller coasters and do daredevil things and whatever level we're comfortable with. So that same fear that we're like, I'm going to ride the big roller coaster at the fair. What if we put that to like, oh, I really need to tell somebody how I really feel, but I'm scared to. What if we just flip it? That same energy, that same adrenaline that we like to get on stuff that we're scared. I'm going to do a challenge. And I love that kind of challenge. And that's what I've done with the WipeOut and MasterChef and all this. Like, I want to be scared to death in that good way. Not to death. I don't mean that, but if we just flip that, oh, wow, I really need to make that phone call, but I don't want to. It's like, okay, I'm scared to make it. Just change your thought. Perception is up to us. We create point of view perception, and we get to be in control of that. And again, and perception is everything, even more than truth. What is truth? Truth is variable. My truth might be different than your truth, but it's my perception that matters, my truth for my actions. So you guys,
could you please clarify that a little bit by what you mean by your example of I'm afraid to make that phone call, or, something you're not looking forward to, how we actually turn that fear, concern around to work for us?
Okay. So say it's okay. Let's go to something really simple. Like you think you should have a raise at work or something. You know what good work you do. Maybe everybody else has you got a raise, but they know you're the nice guy. They know that you're the one. Then they do sometimes take advantage of you, and you might sometimes feel advantage. And again, this is a common story, of everybody else. And you're going, well, I'm the nice guy, and they can't think, but they got a raise. I really should get a raise because whatever that is. But they're so fearful of like, oh, are you fearful of, are you deserving it? You look at that. Are you fearful that they're going to say no? They say no. Are they almost, if you need to dance between your left and right brains and your heart, I make lots of big triangles, that logical side. Are they going to shoot you if they don't get, no, I don't think anybody's going to shoot me. I don't think anybody's going to yell at me. I don't think this or that. Just choose to look at it differently. And as soon as you create it, just like, again, that's why play as a child and play as adult is important. We want to have that. I'm going to write this story. How we do meditations, how we do journey work. Rewrite this. Like, I'm going to ask for this raise. Oh, it's strong. If you need to do left brain, 1, this is because I deserve it. 2, I've worked here for 10 years. 3, and you want to look at that list going, yeah, I deserve a raise. I'm going to pump that up. I will give you exercises, do sounds, do chants, light an incense, work with herbs, hold a crystal, do whatever you need if you need a tool to help you, and then just do it. And get comfortable. We have to get comfortable outside our comfort level. That's the biggest issue, I think, that asking it, I'm comfortable here. Again, not particularly happy, just a little bit happy. I'm content, but not that content. But it's safe in here. That's that same, I don't care if I'm happy, I just want to survive. And this is where I survive. So do one little thing every day. And I do this, people, like one little thing that's a little bit scary every day. Wear your hair in a way that you would really never wear it, but it's kind of cute. Wear a colored lipstick that you would never wear. And you did it. And you survived, and maybe some people said it looked good and some people said it didn't look, but you're going to get really empowered by it. Drive a different way to work. Nothing that by rote asleep at the wheel. Oh, that was scary. And I did it. And you're going to feel that sense of accomplishment, even if it's where I unbuttoned one of my buttons, or I unbuttoned it up, or I wore a brighter color. You're going to see like, wow, that accomplishment. I did it. Little baby steps are great. And even like in spell working, we were talking, like if you're doing a money spell, if you believe you're worthy of being a billionaire, go for $1 billion. If you're not there yet in your belief system, start out with a raise, start with $1,000, $100,000. Stair step. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And success is going to get you here versus one big failure. I want to be president tomorrow. You probably can't be president tomorrow. Get that kind of thing. So the same thing with working with fear. I look at your reasons. Is it mental reasons? Is it worthy reasons? And that's it. Just baby steps at a time. Passion fuels everything. That's a fire. Doubt kills everything. That's it. Passion, whatever that is. So, and we have the choice over that. It takes a little practice sometimes.
Like Jesus said in the Bible, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains, right? So It's about really just believing with every ounce, because like you said, doubt, it immediately just, it's you don't even have a chance. But I'll add to what you're saying too. Like if you're trying to manifest, like you said, winning the lottery or, $1 million or whatever it is, start looking for driftwood. Like you're looking for the proof that you've been heard and you're receiving. And that might come in the form of you're walking your dog down the street and you see a penny on the ground. There you go. There's money coming to you. Now, sure, a penny is not $1 million, but that's affirmation that you're receiving. It's heard. So I call them like God winks. Like you get a wink from the universe that, okay, you were heard. We're with you. And then be grateful, right? Be grateful for that. Instead of thinking like, oh, it wasn't $1 million. Thanks for the penny. It's like, well, okay, cool. Like this makes me feel seen and heard and valued, and I'm on the right path. So.
Yeah. And that is changing our belief system.
Yeah.
That perception we talked about. Yay, I want a penny. Penny. It was a heads up penny. Yay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is and do ask for signs. The universe, God will give us signs. I do too.
And I say, make them really clear because I'm pretty dense. Like I need the brick to fall on my head pretty much. And and the thing too, Patti, is I've learned you got to be open to the form that they come in. Like someone like me wants it super clear, but sometimes it's something really soft, and it might not be immediate. Like sometimes it is right when you're saying the incantation or the prayer or the wish or having the thought. And then sometimes it's like a week later, something will come, be like, aha, that was back to what I was asking for. So it's really just about staying in that conscious, receiving, grateful mode of openness, being open to however form it might come.
100%. And you said the big words: consciousness, not be asleep at the wheel, awareness, and gratitude, gratefulness, because that's,
I love it. It's
everything.
so powerful. And I like you give the example in your stair stepping or baby steps that you've said that, instead of just going for the big nut and praying for world peace, it might be a good idea to get peace in yourself first. And start with yourself first. I've heard you say that, which is brilliant. And then take it from there, Yeah.
If you're trying to get world peace and you live in an apartment or a household or a family that all you do is fight, it's like,
yes.
Start with you, then go with people you live with, and then go with your neighbors, and then go with people you work with. And then guess what? We have world peace. But if every household's fighting, world peace means nothing.
And never think just you can't make the difference. It's only me. What's one person going to do, right? I mean, if everybody said that, where would this world be? Whereas opposed to the opposite, if everyone said, if it's meant to be, it starts with me, and we all said that, we would have a very different world. So everyone matters.
Everyone matters. And there is a quote, and I can't even remember who, and there is a quote for anybody who ever said it, almost exactly what you said, that one person can't make a difference. Au contraire, something like that. That is all that ever has.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's all that's ever mattered.
It's one person at a time.
That is sounding very familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, so Patti, as a good witch, what are your thoughts on someone needing to get, just out of integrity, needing to get permission from someone to, I don't want to say spellcast, but kind of involve someone outside of you? Like, how do you feel about that? Or doing things on people's behalf, like without their consent?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
I 100%. Yeah. Again, I would never do a spell. They need a love spell. They need a money spell. No, I don't. I won't even, if I'm in the grocery store, I turn off my mediumship. I don't want somebody's mother in the produce department. I don't want to be Long Island medium. They know she's there. It's a whole crew. It's like, it's not in integrity to me, not ethics. They have to go in their lesson. I would never do a spell. And if somebody, I don't even do spells for people. We do it together. I can never have your passion. I need your passion involved. I'll have the herbs, I'll have the oils, I'll have the chants, I'll have the connections, what we do, but you have to be with it too. I'm not going to go do this for you and give it to you. You have to be, your life force has to be part of it. And again, I've never even found a need to have to but that's manipulating somebody else, whatever it is, even if but it's all for good.
Yeah. No, right. But it's also your will. It's your, you're taking away someone's sovereignty. So this might be a little tangential, but I'm just wondering, what about, because I've read in my studies, like, our will has to say yes to whatever it be, letting spirit in, opening ourselves to other realms. Our free will, our soul has a choice, back to the free will of welcoming it in. Now, does that also go for bad spirits and possessions? Like, is there a part of the person that somewhere along the line, maybe in a weak moment or something, allowed it in? Or can we, because some people don't like even talking about any of this stuff because it's scary. They don't want to kind of get lost or possessed or anything. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I have very firm opinions and beliefs and experience with this. I've kind of always known that, again, this three-dimensional, our world, mundane, this is our realm of existence. The other side, well, especially talking spirits and lower vibration, has to play by our rules. They have to, but we don't know that. So just like we were talking earlier about giving our power away, we give our power away. When you see the person on camera like, la, 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 they've been taken over by a dark spirit, they've sadly allowed that to happen, usually just because they don't know better. It's like, oh, and they show fear. There is a negative energy, spirit, whatever, try not to show fear because that's what they want. Try not to show anger because that's what they want. Be like a parent, like, nope, I'm sorry, you're not welcome. This is a house of love. This is a house of light. Go where you want to go, but you can't go here. And say it with a firmness, a confidence, a
conviction.
And guess what? They go away. And again, there's karmic things we look at, past lives and this and that, and issues that we have to deal with. But unless somebody has a real mental imbalance, then yes, stuff can get in. Or an addiction problem, a severe addiction problem, drugs and alcohol. I'm not even judgmental on it. But when you have that addiction problem, you open up this portal that can let dark stuff in. Not that you can't get rid of it, you can. But so many of those things, because again, you've given away your free will in a lot of ways. When you're addicted to whatever you're addicted to, even if you're functioning with whatever, you don't have control over that anymore. Even if you think you do, if you're truly addicted, you don't. So you've given away that free will, and that's when the dark stuff really can get in. So you've really got to work both to clean yourself up and take your power back, and get rid of the spirits at the same times. But people just don't know better, so they give it up. And people jump into this world. It's like, why are you diving in the deep end? Because you don't know how to swim yet. Let's go to the shallow water, shall we?
Yeah, the baby steps. Yep. And your life is truly a testament to the effectiveness of this, because and I'll just say too, for terms, I would think the common term is manifesting, whereas in witchcraft world it's spellcasting, right? Do I have that right? Like, it's really synonymous.
Yeah.
So
thing.
Right. And you have really demonstrated the effectiveness of manifesting / spellcasting based on your accomplishments professionally, Patti. I mean, I've mentioned some in the intro, but you basically spellcasted your way into getting on America's Got Talent TV shows, working
MasterChef,
MasterChef, Gordon Ramsay, right?
And none of them I should. And all of that I did because I did it with my own personal health. I had health issues. My mom took a drug when she was pregnant. So I was a victim between 15 and 30. And by 30, they said, if I made it to 50, which I probably wouldn't, this cancer, that cancer, the other cancer, tumor in my brain, 5 fractures. If I made it to 50, I probably wouldn't. I would be in a wheelchair. And I kind of went, no, I'm a witch. I'm a manifester. No. And everything went away. Every illness, did she have lupus, fibromyalgia, every autoimmune, everything went away. So at 50, using positive magic, I like, how do I show the world I'm no better talented than anybody? I'm no more gifted than anybody. I want to try out for the hardest obstacle course in the world. So I want to try out for WipeOut. I did use good craft, good positive magic, and I beat 100,000 people and did the hardest, scariest, most painful thing I ever did in doing WipeOut. And it was the most empowering. Again, baby steps to you are jumping off buildings. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so fun. And so I'm like, what can I do more to show how powerful we are? What is something I absolutely should not do? I should not have done that. I was twice the age of most of the girls. I go, well, my husband won't let me in the kitchen. I got kicked out of home ec. I'm going to cook for Gordon Ramsay using positive magic. I'm
Oh
not
my
going to
God.
control Gordon Ramsay or Joe Bastianich. And next thing I played the whole witch card, and at the auditions where there's thousands of people, next thing I know, I'm cooking for Gordon Ramsay. Second most scary thing I've ever done.
Okay,
So
wait a
what am
second. Two things, but you don't know how to cook. So how did you do that? And second of all, can you give us an actual example of what you mean by you did the witchcraft to get it? Like, what did you do?
Okay, so what I know, I don't know what saute means, but I do know I'm
Wow.
I work herbs, I work oils, I do all this stuff, and I do know magical cooking. So even if you're
Okay.
stirring your kids' oatmeal, stir clockwise if you're above the equator. That's adding in love. Make sure you're not sitting all cranky. That's going into the food. Go counterclockwise. Teaching, oh, cinnamon's going to bring a fire element, a passion element. Ooh, basil's going to stop arguments. The magical thing of cooking behind cooking, that what we put in energetically matters just as much. So I played that and I just kept getting farther and further and further.
That's
So
great.
again, so I beat 100,000 people, but those are 100,000 people who knew how to cook. I was probably the least cook there. So that's what
That's nuts. That's just nuts.
And the same thing with WipeOut. I was not the most physical. So that's what, again, the same thing. And it's addicting, that kind of a fear,
So,
adrenaline.
but what did you do to get on Wipeout then? If you physically couldn't compete in the obstacle course, like how did you do it?
I did because I'd spent years between 30 and 50 getting completely healthy. You had to go through physical, psychological healthy,
Yeah.
you know, and I did all that. Same thing with, I made Eye of Newt pumpkin soup on my first audition, and on the Master Chef Kitchen, I made Aristosis, son of Apollo, love pasta, showing magic. Because even if I get, you know, goofy, I love to make a fool of myself. I tend to make a fool of myself. Even if they're going, that is the silliest thing ever, they're going to, in their head, go, wow, I better put love into my kids' oatmeal. That's my whole point. That's my whole, if you're stirring your coffee, you know, put in clarity. If you're getting rid of anger, whatever that is. And so then I'm like, oh my God, I've done it with cooking, should not have. I've done it with the physical, should not have. What is the other thing what is another thing that I absolutely have no business being on, to show what positive magic, manifestation, witchcraft can do? And I'm watching TV and I'm like, America's Got Talent. I'm in awe of those singers and those dancers, and they're so talented. I can sing, but not that good. I'm a dancer, but not that good. You know, it's like, so next thing I know, I'm rolling on the floor with Howie Mandel using positive witchcraft.
But what did you do for the audition?
I psychically read his dog.
Oh,
and
my God.
And I knew it was supposed to be this whole, I mean, because during all the auditions, I'm reading his little chihuahua, and then we're at the big Dolby Theater in Hollywood where the Academy Awards are, and they're going, okay, it's gonna be a different dog. I'm like, yeah, sure, it's his kid's dog. Okay, now make sure you get down at the dog's level of it. Yeah, okay. Make sure you get Howie on stage with him. Yeah, okay.
So the dog was physically there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. For this last, not in all the auditions I was doing, and then it's get Howie on this. So they wanted it to be the dog all over Howie, all over me. It was hysterical and funny.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up.
I've got little tiny clips of it on my YouTube. I actually do. Like, and it's just to show people we can do anything. It's not because I made a fool of myself on Master Chef or America's Got Talent, but we can do anything we can believe.
To the contrary, I think certainly did not.
I'm going to cook for more for Gordon Ramsay. And then to say if I hadn't got all the way, that's okay too. But I did, because I'm a really good witch.
That's amazing. I love it, Patti. Okay, I know we're getting to the end here, but would you be kind enough to share with us maybe like 3 simple tips on how we can bring more magic to our lives?
Yes. Okay. The easiest one to me, a way to make your life flow better, is follow moon cycles. We understand, you know, every full moon, it gets crazy. I mean, they'll tell you, anybody who works in a hospital or a police station, we are almost 60% water. So if every full moon, wherever you live, it's a 2-day option, don't get crazy. Number 1, be in gratitude. Whoever you're grateful for, the moon, God, Jesus, the gods, your higher self. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you can get outside, get outside. If you can't, don't. Thank you for this. Thank you for everything. And ask for what you want. Every belief system says you should ask, whether you call it prayer or whatever. So thank you for my 1-bedroom apartment. I love it. I'd really like a 2-bedroom apartment. Give me a 2. So again, gratitude and ask. Then the next 2 weeks while the moon is waning, it's written on every calendar, it's on your cell phone, waning moon. When the moon is waning, Wake up in the morning and go, if the moon's waning, I'm going to let go of something. I'm not going to worry so much. I'm not going to be so hard on myself. I'm not going to eat so many carbs today. Make it mundane world, magical world. I'm whatever that is. Releasing or letting go will be 10 times easier during the waning moon because we're tapping into our tides. We are affected by this. Early man knew, we forgot in modern times. When we get down to the new moon, to the dark moon, that's when you go inside. Whether you do a big meditation, what is the meaning of life, or 30 seconds going, what do I want now? Not what did I want last month, maybe, or not what does the world want for me? And then the next 2 weeks of waxing moon, getting bigger, you see it out the window, add into your life. More love, more laughter, more exercise, more lunch with my friends, more sex, whatever. All of a sudden, within days, within a couple of weeks, you are now tapping into that almost 60% water with 2 weeks of adding what you want and need, that celebration and gratitude, and then the releasing of what, not good or bad, but what no longer serving you. And the content, just like breathing, the thing we all need to do. The easiest, the good stuff in your life will get better faster and faster, and the other stuff just starts fading away with the grace and ease of the moon. Easiest thing ever, because it's natural. It's tapping back into, and that awareness and everything else we've talked about the whole hour. That's my best to bring magic into your life.
I love that so much, Patti. You know, I have an online women's circle, and we always meet around the time of the new moon. And one thing that I always say is, you know, it's very important that people get the concept that in order to bring in something new, you have to create space for it. So it's very important to do the purging. That what do I get rid of? So often we think, oh, I feel sick. What, I'm going to take a vitamin, or I'm going to eat more, you know, vegetables, like more. They're adding. But what's often required first is to release stuff that's not working, or baggage, or stuff you're holding on to, and all that stuff. So that's the period of the new moon and the dark moon, is the going within and releasing what you don't want anymore to allow space for the beautiful new to come in. Otherwise you're full, right? And that's the feminine,
no
is
room.
yeah, exactly. Where's it going to go? You know, it's like we're already all overstressed and overcommitted and overwhelmed, you know?
Over it. Yeah.
Yeah, over it. Yeah, I love it. Patti,
Yeah,
just amazing.
Thank you.
Is there anything else on your heart you'd like to say as some final thoughts today?
No, just to remind people, magic is everywhere.
Yes.
We just do have to look sometimes. Sometimes we have to create it. Sometimes we have to peek in. Sometimes, but it's everywhere. And
Indeed.
we all have everything we need.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's so great. So encouraging and positive and empowering and wonderful. Patti Negri, can you tell us how we can find you? Where do you want to direct our listeners and viewers to your work?
I'm everywhere. But the main place, if you go to my website, pattinegri.com, you can get to, I'm on all the social medias, and sometimes there's fake me's. There's a thing going on.
Oh.
But Patti Negri Psychic Medium, there's a blue check on Facebook, Patti.Negri on Instagram, Patti Negri on Twitter. But you can get to the correct ones from my website. I have a YouTube page where I teach a lot.
Great.
You get lots of free teaching, how to do a clearing spell, how to do this, how to do that. And then I have my website too, called The Witching Hour, where I have amazing guests from the magical world of all forms. Every week on Apple, Audible,
That's
Podbean.
your podcast.
That's my podcast.
Yeah.
And all the regular podcast places, and in video on YouTube, and on my network Paraflix, which I have a streaming service, Paraflix. And I have a school. I have a school this past year. We're hitting a year. University Magicus. It's a spirituality school, a very affordable, literally averages like $10 a class, where we teach mediumship development, psychic protection, paranormal investigation, spirit guides, familiars, Reiki. I have a Reiki teacher. We have 17 teachers on staff now, from Catholic priests to witches to New Agers. We don't teach any one truth. We teach, you find your truth. There's many, many truths out there.
Wow,
so universitymagicus.com.
You're a real schlump, huh? Gee whiz,
Yeah,
how do you do all that?
I eat bonbons all day.
Oh my God. Well, I guess that's testament to when you're just living your dharma and you love what you're doing, and you're just, wow. I mean, talk about offerings. That's so impressive. And everybody, her amazing book, Old World Magic for the Modern World, right here. You can see it on Awakening Aphrodite podcast, Fit Amy TV, YouTube, and of course on Patti's website. Patty,
And
thank you.
Amazon.
Thank you. Yes, Amazon. Thank you so very much. This has really just been a thrill. I really appreciate everything that you're offering the world, how practical, how heartfelt, how pure and loving and empowering your work has been. Thank you for being on the show.
It's an honor. Thank you for all that you do. So thank you for having me on.
All right, everybody. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Share it with a friend and like the show, perhaps leave a review, and definitely check out Patty's stuff for more on Patti Negri. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye. Would you like to support my mission to help empower people all over the world to be all of who they truly are? If so, please subscribe to the show, leave a review on iTunes, and share it with a friend. And if you're looking to take immediate action to align your energy and optimize your health, visit amyfournier.com. Thanks for listening to Awakening Aphrodite. Let's awaken her together in you. I'm your hostess, Amy Fournier, and I already can't wait to be with you again and for you to hear what I have planned for the next show.
Thanks for listening to Awakening Aphrodite with Amy Fournier. To learn more about Amy, check out her website, amyfournier.com. That's AMYFOURNIER.com. You can also check out Amy's live and on-demand virtual fitness and yoga classes and sign up for her newsletter to receive a free mini ebook of 3 of her top tips for making holistic health a lifestyle. Again, that's amyfournier.com and get your ebook sent to your email immediately. Connect with Amy on the daily on Instagram at FitAmyTV, FITAMYTV, and watch many of the podcast episodes and subtopic clips on her YouTube channel, which is also FitAmyTV. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time on Awakening Aphrodite.